Welcome to the Fearlessly Authentic Sash and Soul podcast, the show that goes beyond the stage, prioritizing a healthy mindset, overall well-being, and triumphs in the pageant journey. In each episode, we dive into the transformative power of embracing authenticity fearlessly.
From mindset mastery and self-care strategies to success stories that inspire, this podcast is your go-to guide for navigating the pageant world with confidence and resilience. Join us as we embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and celebrate the stories of those who fearlessly embraced their authenticity on the path to pageant success. I'm Lila Sherry.
And I'm Rayanna Johnson. Welcome to Sash and Soul.
Welcome back to Sash and Soul, and welcome to the exclusives episode with Rachel Betterley, who is Mrs. Petite USA. We heard all about her in our episode previous to this one, which was our main interview. This is something that didn't quite make it into that first interview, but we still thought it was important to share. So enjoy and let us know how you like it.
We've been doing extras, we're trying to build up some extra exclusive content. And the one thing that I would love to talk with you about, if you wouldn't mind, is I want to know what you think the pageant industry needs to be changing and doing to help women that are competing, that are title holders, to support their well-being and their mental health as they are, going after their dreams and goals. Obviously, the reason I'm asking about this is because of the recent news about Miss USA and now Miss Teen USA resigning for their mental health and well-being. And Lila and I both know from personal experience and from friends and working with clients that this is really across the board in the pageant industry. And we've been talking about it for so long, but we're both kind of getting mad. Let's do something now instead of just talking about it. So what do you see that needs to be changed or implemented to better support women?
Oh, that's such a deep question. I have always felt that, ironically, it's about empowerment, right? For women, pageantry is about empowerment. But in many cases, it's very easy for winning title holders to not feel empowered, to feel like they're being controlled, or more specifically, feeling like they're treated as if they are a child. That is an experience that I feel was kind of a big thing, especially at Mrs. America, or I should say Miss America, not Mrs. America, but at Miss America. This whole aspect of you can't show the world that you have a boyfriend. At the time, it's changed a little bit, but think about that. Think about how weird that is, that you have to appear that you are single. It started from that. And I really had to almost prove that I was mature enough to just be treated like a normal adult. You have to prove that you're mature enough to do X, Y, Z. And it's like, we shouldn't have to prove anything. So part of it is, how do we break that cycle? Because I still think that is a thing. While it's changed a little bit, I think that that's still very prevalent. If we think about Miss USA, I don't know what's happening. We obviously don't know the extent of what's happening, but we know deep down they are allowed to speak about X, Y, Z. So that stems from control. That stems from them essentially feeling like they have no power, feeling like they are a small child. And it's like, from a motherhood standpoint, we need to find a way to fix that. The power struggles between directors and title holders, and finding that common ground. And we need to change. I don't have the answers for that, but I think that's where this has all started.
It's happening on the local level, on the state level, on the national level, in different pageant systems. And it is infuriating. And I know this as a coach who has, spoken with clients recently who have said to me they are not allowed to work with me, that their directors gave them an ultimatum that it was either them or me. And my client, she said, she was so sweet. She said, "You'd be so proud of me. I advocated for myself. I wanted to work with you for mindset." and that I would work with them for everything else. And they still said no. And other clients that are coming to me and saying, this isn't the experience that I wanted. I just need a little extra help to feel good about myself as I'm preparing to compete for this competition for the first time. It's infuriating to me why directors, volunteers, the organizations are putting their ego first above the empowerment of women. Please don't keep touting this idea that you're part of these organizations and these systems to be supportive and empowering women, and then manipulate and shut them down the way that you do.
Well, and I think about, it's so funny because it's so true. I shouldn't say it's funny, but it's so true. Everything you're saying. It's almost like you have to navigate how to speak to a director. And if you do it right, you'll get your way. But if you don't do it right, you will struggle. And it's the art of communication. That's it. You'll have great directors, right? Who get it and who are fine. And then you have ones that you have to work your way around it. And you shouldn't have to do that.
You really shouldn't. I'm losing it over here because that is so true. It's like you have to figure out how to work through and around the system, but that's exhausting. Not everyone has the capacity to do that as a local title holder. Like, as a person, we've got other stuff going on too. Like, pageants is not our world. And for most of women that are competing, I mean, unless you are in, the misses or the elite divisions, when you are a teen, a junior, a miss, chances are you haven't had experience in a career. And if you have, it's been very brief and you haven't had a whole lot of experience creating boundaries for yourself and advocating for yourself. And then you are thrust into an organization where you're a representative with no HR and no liaison for you to go to, and trying to figure out how to navigate and who to communicate with. And then sometimes being blatantly shut out with zero communication left out on your own, not really knowing what you're supposed to do, what you're not allowed to do. It's these things. It's a combination of a whole mess of things that are causing mental health issues for women in this system that is supposed to be empowering them.
Yep. And I was just watching it was a live between some Mrs. contestants and one of my coaches that I work with, Randy Russo, and she hit the nail on the head. She said, there needs to be more accountability also with things like prize packages and the expense that it actually takes. There will be organizations that you get XYZ for a prize and the winner will see none of it, or they'll see a sliver of it. And it's these lies. It's this facade. Organizations need to do better. How hard is it for people to get organized? It's like, if I can be a national title holder and be a mom and be a full-time teacher and be a wife and have a nonprofit, like, you're telling me you can't organize this pageant to do XYZ or give them a stage that is actually worth walking on? It's all these things where it's just treating women who spend all this time and money and you can't even give them that. It's things from the ground up need to change, or we're just going to lose pageantry in general, which I don't want to do, because it does have its huge moments of empowerment. And so like I said, I don't know the answers, but we can start by having conversations.
There should be an HR representative at every level. Maybe that is kind of the solution. Now that we're talking it out, I'm thinking, why don't we have that? Every business does. Like,
one HR representative on the board of directors or on a committee of some kind, that has that sole responsibility to help guide and lead the organization in the direction that is supporting the mental health, well-being, and honestly legality behind how to treat an employee. If we're calling the title holder an employee, even a contracted employee of the organization, there have to be guidelines, ground rules, and some policies and procedures that are set in place for that person. I mean, even as much as going on appearances and not having a contract with the organizer of that appearance that states how they are expected to treat that title holder while they are there and what the repercussions are if those are not abided by? How many titles that, are state title holders, national title holders that are required to go on these appearances, but don't have that basic protection?
Right. Well, and I think that's a fantastic idea, to be honest, because that's going to level the playing field for both sides. The directors, the volunteers, or whoever's involved in whatever kind of pageant system, that side of it. And then it's also going to help protect the title holders too, which is still essential. If title holders are not happy, you are not going to see the numbers rise. There's a reason why pageants are doing this and this. And it's because word of mouth is huge in pageantry. Experiences matter. And I've tried to tell this to many directors before in various pageant systems. You need to consider changing this stage or providing this or really thinking about amping up your social media because you're missing out here. And it's all these things. And if you're not doing that and you're not providing the experience, even if they lose, well, now you also lost your profit of more women coming in, but now they're going to go tell XYZ that they did not love the experience and you lost. You lost right from the get-go.
That makes it really difficult as a title holder to promote the organization that you have committed to promote and to recruit for when you might be on this other side. And I'm not speaking about you, Rachel, because we've talked about your experience in Petite USA, and it sounds like you're having a fantastic experience. But for other systems, which many of us are familiar with, it's this the difficulty. And I remember as a title holder struggling with, how am I supposed to bring in and promote sponsorships and scholarships and women to compete when I can't really trust the follow through on the other side? It's a really, really difficult thing to do. It's like being a salesperson trying to sell a product that is broken.
Yep. As a title holder in many scenarios, or you go to an appearance and you're like, this was really great. How special would it be to have Miss Minnesota come over and over and over again? But then all of a sudden it's not happening because the communication's broken and that appearance is lost now because something happened as far as the connection or the lack of connection or just the lack of organization with scheduling and continuing to network. And if directors and whoever don't know how to network, which is essential, they're not going to get the valuable, important appearances that these women deserve. They're going to get fluff stuff where they're not taken seriously. And you don't want that, but it stems from having a team. It stems from having somebody who gets it. And I almost think it would be so beneficial to have maybe a former involved in some way or shape or form on some team doing something, because a former's voice, there's so much experience there that could be tapped into that's not utilized. I think about that often. So much experience from formers that is not utilized or tapped into. Missed opportunity.
I completely agree, but here's the problem with that. There's a cycle. It's very cyclical. We've got title holders that get burnt out, run into the ground, want nothing to do with the organization anymore because they need a break. They need a hiatus. Right. And then they don't come back to volunteer. And then we just have this like cycle over and over again because we don't get that voice. Mm-hmm. So chicken or egg.
Right.
Exactly.
It is problematic. I see it all over the place.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
People who want control or people who want to be involved don't know how to. They want to be involved in the right way, but they can't because XYZ is still there or this or that. And it's this just, yeah. Yeah.
We're vigorously nodding our heads along, which brings me to, I think, my final point of this rant, which is really what this feels like, but it's kind of
that's
refreshing.
Okay. We all need a good rant.
Yes, exactly. I just think if you are burnt out as a volunteer or you've run out of ideas or you don't have the energy, like there is no shame in taking a break or just admitting like I need help or something,
Yes.
because I've done it. I've been board members where I knew I wasn't doing enough and it just made me feel guilty and I just stepped aside. Like it is not about an ego. It
Mm.
is about the betterment of this organization that serves the constituents within the organization. Those constituents are young women across the country just trying to make a difference in the world and improve themselves. So if it's not it for you anymore, you're tired, you can just recognize that and step down, please. Like it's not an ego trip.
And the betterment of the organization serves everybody involved. That is a common cause. That is one big group project that we can all appreciate. Nobody loses out when we're all working towards the same goal.
Oh, that's so true. And knowing where your faults are and recognizing those faults and finding someone else who might be better at that. A director or a volunteer or someone on the board does not need to do all the things. And if you feel like you're doing all the things, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to stop. You need to stop, because there's no way you could be knowing everything about what Miss Minnesota needs, her well-being, everything about sponsorship, everything about social media, everything about marketing. And if you're just getting yes men or yes women, and all they're doing is going, yes, I'll do whatever you want. Yes, that's not growing the program either. You need some people who are going to be like, hey, let's think about this for a sec here. The data shows, or these experiences show, that XYZ is happening to this pageant organization. We need to kind of reassess XYZ. And that, to me, having someone who's actually wanting to have those tougher talks shows me that they are there for the organization and they are not there for themselves. So if you feel like you got a lot of the term yes men or yes women around you, is your organization falling flat? Does your organization feel like it's the same as it was 5, 6, 10 years ago? If it does, let's reevaluate some things. Let's think about this, because we're at a tipping point in pageantry, and if we don't get a hold on it now, and that includes everybody, not just title holders, but everybody involved in whatever pageant system, it's about to be rough seas here.
And let's remember that when we're talking about making changes, we're not just talking about the dang show at the end of the year,
Right.
when we crown a new title holder. We are talking about the entirety of the organization, the sponsors, the money coming in, the recruitment, the involvement, like all these things that actually make up the organization, not just 3 nights of competition.
Yeah.
Right. It's so much more than that. And think about it. Who would want to sponsor? I know for me, I don't want to sponsor an organization that feels like a mess. I don't want to sponsor an organization where I feel like I'm not going to be best represented as a sponsor. That's a really delicate line. And if directors or whoever don't recognize that line, it's time to reassess at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. All right. With that, let's wrap up our rant. Rachel, thank you so much again for being here. This conversation was healing for me. And I hope it was equally as healing for both of you. Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, good luck to you with everything. So good to see you. I'm sure that we'll chat with you again.
Thank you all so much. I enjoyed it. I love what you do. I think your Sash and Soul podcast is amazing because it shines a light on so many different realms in pageantry, and it's such a breath of fresh air. So I thank you also, because I know this is going to help a lot of women, and it's just like ultimate girl power here. I love it.
I love it too. Awesome. All right. Thanks, lady. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, you guys, if you love what you're hearing on Sash and Soul and you're preparing for a pageant competition, you have to check out our free online training, 3 Keys to Winning the Crown. In this game-changing workshop, you'll discover the secrets to owning the interview and the stage with a winning mindset and humble confidence. This transformative session will empower you to cultivate a fearlessly authentic mindset and learn how to embrace your unique strengths, conquer limiting beliefs, and radiate confidence on and off the stage. You'll master the art of communication and discover powerful strategies to captivate judges and audiences with your unique voice and message. Click the link in the episode summary or visit fearlesslyauthenticcoach.com to claim your spot in this complimentary training. Your journey to greatness starts here.